before we start to remember that you're going to need a belt, a scarf or a towel, because we'll be doing some exercises such as these, some shoulder exercises. So make sure that you've got something that you can use. An old pair of tights would also be fine. Good. So let's settle in. So just getting yourself into a comfortable position. If you're sitting in a chair, you might want to have some books or something underneath your feet. You don't have to sit cross-legged. You could sit with your legs in front. You could sit with something under your knees. You can sit against the wall. That's also fine. So just sit however you want to sit. And then we'll just settle in. So take a moment to wiggle your buttocks a little bit from side to side, feeling the contact of the body and the floor or the chair. You can take your weight a little bit forward, take the weight a little bit backwards. So just feeling and noticing the spine, feeling how your vertebrae are stacking over one another. Feel the base of the body and how it nuzzles a little bit more into the earth. And then take the shoulders up towards the ears and then take them down the back. You might want to do this just a few times. And then settle the shoulders down. We'll be coming back to the shoulders later. And then move the thumbs back. Adjust the head, so we can move the head from one side to the other side. Just a few times, noticing how your neck feels. And then moving the head forward and backwards. And again, we'll come back a little bit to the neck a bit later, but this is just an initial check-in. And then relax the head, relax the skin around the eyes, and make sure that the jaw is relaxed. So often we hold tension in the jaw, so you might even want to just take your hands up to the jaw, so massaging where your upper and lower jaw meet, opening the mouth. Don't worry if you look a bit goofy while you do this. No one can see you. And then we're going to rest the hands down. We can take the mudra, the first finger and the thumb, and just resting the hands down on the knees. Closing your eyes. Beginning to notice the sounds around you. So noticing all the sounds. Sounds in this recording, the sounds that you can hear in your own space. And then begin to focus on the sound of your breath. Allowing the breath to draw you inwards, like a river leading from the outside to the inside. Notice how you feel, physically, mentally, emotionally. And as you're just reflecting inwards, I'm going to read a passage from a book by Francis Weller, The Wild Edge of Sorrow, which was introduced to me by my friend Charlotte, who I did some grief circles here with in Altea. Our broken hearts have the potential to open us to a wider sense of identity, one capable of seeing through the partitions that have segregated self from world. Through grief, we are initiated into a more inclusive conversation between our singular selves and the soul of the world. We are coming to understand there is no isolated self stranded in the cosmos. We are participants in an intertwined and entangled net of connections with a continuous exchange of light, air, gravity, thought, colour and sound, all coalescing in the elegant dance that is our shared life. It is the broken heart that can let slip into its core the shimmer of a salmon gliding just under the surface of the water, the startling arc of a swift, the wonder of Mozart, and the sheer beauty of sunrise. Taking a moment to reflect on the words, reflect on our own inner state. And then bringing the hands together in a prayer pose, in Namaste at the heart center. Press the thumbs into the chest, relax the shoulders. Make an intention for your practice or for your day. Simple intention, I am well, I am focused. Whatever intention you want to make. And then slowly open your eyes, just gazing down into your hands. And let's open the fingers. So we keep the heels of the hands together and we open the fingers wide, like we're making a lotus shape, like so. And then we're going to blow our intention into our hands. And we take this intention down to the hearts. And then we're going to send the intention out to all of everyone else practicing in the whole world. Good. So let's start with a little bit of movement before we go on to some more shoulder movements. So if you're sitting on the floor, you can stretch out the legs now, give them a little bit of a relax and a bit of a wiggle. If you're on the chair, just stay on the chair, that's fine. We'll start off with a few little mini sun salutations. So we inhale, lifting up the hands. And exhale, taking a very small bow forward. So really small, particularly if you've been recovering from anything, just take it very easy. Inhale, open the chest. So we're arching the back slightly. Exhale, rounding the back, pull the belly button in, look towards the navel, and then inhale, sweep the hands up. Look to the thumbs, that's the drishti point, the point of gaze. Exhale, hands to the heart. So for 2 more times, you can go a little bit deeper if you want to. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, folding forward, going deeper only if you want to, rounding the spine. Inhale, straightening the spine forward. You can flex the feet if you're on the floor. Exhale, folding forwards, relaxing the head. Inhale, sweeping all the way up. Slight back bend, look to the thumbs. Exhale, down the center line. 1 more time. Inhale, sweep the hands up. Exhale, folding forward, only a little bit or as much as you feel good with. And then inhale, lifting up the head. Stretching the spine forward. Exhale, folding forwards. And then inhale, sweeping all the way back up again. Exhale, down the center line. Good. Now interlace the fingers. If you're sitting on the floor, you can cross your legs again if that's more comfortable. You don't have to, only if you find it comfortable. And then pushing the heels of the hands away. Inhale, sweeping them up. Draw the shoulders down. And then just a little bit of movement from side to side. So we're still waking up the body. We're taking our spine through various planes of motion. So a little bit side to side. Relaxing the hands down. Change the cross of the fingers. If you're sitting on the floor, change the cross of the legs. Push the heels of the hands out again. Draw the shoulders back and down, and then inhale, reaching up. You can push a little bit more into the thumb edge of your fingers. That's going to intensify the stretch. So it's like you're trying to turn the hands back towards the wall behind you. And then again, we can go a little bit side to side, just making a nice swaying movement. And remember, if you are recovering from the virus, then make sure you're just doing these movements very, very gently, because we're trying to energize our body rather than deplete our energy. Okay, and then coming down again, releasing the hands, give them a little bit of a wiggle. Nice. So we've taken our body in a sort of forward and backward movement. We've done a little bit side to side, so now we'll take a little bit of twists. But first of all, we're going to do a spiraling movement. So we can imagine that our spine's like a cork, and we're going to unwind. So if you're on a chair, maybe come a little bit further forward in the chair. Make sure the feet are on the floor. You have your hands onto your knees. And then we're going to begin to start some very small spirals. And you can imagine that your back is like a corkscrew. And we're making some nice small spirals. And then you can close your eyes and let these movements be really kind of fluid. So see if you can make your neck nice and soft. And you can begin to make your spirals a little bit bigger if you want, bringing the elbows down towards the knees and the shoulders down. It's up to you. You can continue making them small. Try to make the neck fluid. Keep breathing in and out through your nose. Ujjayi breath, if you know it. If not, just simple in and out through your nose. And then making them smaller and smaller and smaller. So really spiraling in. And then notice the external spirals almost cease. And see if you can feel a little bit of an internal spiral. And then breathe down into your pelvic floor. And then as you exhale, seeing if you can lift the pelvic floor slightly. Keep on breathing. Keep on feeling those internal spirals. Then without opening the eyes, begin to softly spiral in the opposite direction. Release the pelvic floor if you have been holding it. And you can make these movements really nice and fluid, so you can bring in a little bit of shoulders, you can move quickly, you can move slowly. It's up to you. Remember, it's your body. These are your movements. Just enjoying the movements. Good. And then when you're ready, making the movements a little bit smaller. So coming in smaller and smaller and smaller still. And then eventually just making the movements so small, they're barely perceptible to the outside. But you can still feel the inside of the movement. It's almost like a little kind of wave coming up your spine. Then take a nice deep breath into the pelvic floor. Exhale, lift the pelvic floor. So it's a little bit of a squeeze at the base of the body. And continue breathing. Keeping the pelvic floor lifted, keeping the energy moving upwards through the spine. And then releasing everything. So from here, let's take the hands together again. Inhale, sweep the hands up out to the side. And then exhale, twist to your right side. Inhale to the center. Exhale, draw the belly in a little bit, twist to your left side. A couple more times like this. Inhale, sweeping the hands up. Exhale, right side. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, left side. Inhale, hands up. And this time coming over to the right side, and I'm just going to change position so you can see me. So ideally we want to have something underneath the buttocks, and you want your hand either behind you on the chair. If you've got a chair, you can hold on to something, or you want your thumbs right close behind your buttocks, and you're pushing down with this back hand here. So it becomes like a stilt, and then the other hand's on the opposite knee. So opposite knee with the other hand. This hand goes onto the opposite knee, and then we're lifting up, and then we're twisting. Now, there's a tendency to rush ahead here and twist with the neck. So many of you might find you're kind of trying to rush ahead with your neck. So let's just take the neck a little bit back to the center. Try to have the chin so it's over your heart, and then we're thinking about twisting through the whole torso. So we inhale, we lift up the inner organs, the digestive organs, and then we think about twisting through those. Then we inhale, we think about lifting through the heart and the lungs, and then we exhale, we twist a little bit more through the heart and the lungs. And then we inhale, we twist through the heart and the upper lungs, and then we exhale, we twist the collarbones and the upper lungs. And then very slowly, without straining the neck, we can turn the head behind. And then we can turn the head a little bit forward. Just oiling the neck. Inhale. Turning back. Exhale forward. And let's have a bit of variety in this movement. So chin to chest, little semicircle, and a couple more semicircles in your own time. So just enjoying, noticing. Remember, yoga is a practice of paying attention, practice of awareness. And you might find when you're moving your neck, there's a particular point that feels a little bit sore or a little bit kind of stiff. And maybe just stay in that point. And sometimes it's better to kind of stay in a point and then imagine that we're kind of really breathing into that point. So you can close your eyes. You can visualize the point of tension being like an ice cube, and the breath is like a warm little kind of blowtorch, and we're bringing in the breath there. So we breathe into the area, we feel it expand a little bit. And then as we exhale, we can imagine the tension just dripping away into the earth. Good. And then coming back to the center. Change the cross of the legs. If you're on the floor, if you're on the chair, just stay where you are. And then let's lift up the hands again. Inhale, take a little bit of wiggle through our torso. Exhale over to the other side. So again here, thinking about the different parts of your body. Make sure your back hand's close to your buttocks. Your thumb could almost be touching the bum, or you can use the chair to help you. Then we inhale, lift up. Think about lifting through the digestive organs, the colon. Exhale, twisting a little bit more through this part. Inhale, lifting through the ribs. Exhale, twisting a little bit more through the ribs. And then inhale, twisting through the heart and the collarbones. Exhale, twisting a little bit more. And then remember, we're coming back to this neck movement. So we move the head forwards. And then we move the head back. Just moving with your breath, exploring. You might want to close your eyes here. And then we can start to make some nice circles, semicircles. Few times here, noticing where you're holding any tension. And it might feel good either to stay moving through that tension dynamically, or you might want to actually just stop in the tension, find the point, imagine you're breathing into that tension warm air, so we can imagine it's like a big ice cube, and then we're allowing it to melt as we exhale. So just take a bit longer in that area of tension. And then coming all the way back to the front. Good. Take a moment, close the eyes. And see if you can notice the points or the space between your ears and the shoulders. So just taking awareness of these spaces. Make any little adjustments you need to make. And then opening the eyes again. So now we're going to come on to the belt series. So if you want to, you could change position. If you're in the chair, just stay where you are. You could also do these standing up. So if you do want to stand up, you could also take these belt series standing up. I'm going to change and sit on a block, so I get a bit more work on my upper thighs. And I'm using a block, but you could use a book or anything you want. So you might want to change position, or you could just have the legs outstretched, or however you like. So this is a series of exercises. I first started teaching them about 10 years ago, and as yoga teachers, we often sort of change and adapt and have favourite exercises and things. But this one's been a consistent one with me, and I'll explain why while we're actually doing the exercises. So take your belt or your scarf, and you want to have it quite long, so it's like quite long. And what we want, so you just test it now. So when we come up and over, if you have this sort of thing going on with your shoulders, it means it's too short and you want to make it longer. So you want to have a nice smooth movement, and you don't want one shoulder to lift up. I'm just going to come forward a bit, otherwise I'm bashing into my Shiva statue. So adjust that, so make sure you're not bashing into anyone, not bashing into your neighbour if you're practicing with someone at home or anything. So we want to have a nice smooth movement. If you need to move sideways on or anything like that. So once you've checked your movement and you've checked your space, holding onto your belt. So we're stretching the belt, shoulders are down. Inhale, sweeping your belt up. Remember, you can use a scarf or a towel. And then exhale, coming down. Keep on pulling the belt. Inhale, sweep the belt up. Exhale, coming down the front. So continuing like this. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, coming down. One more time. Inhale up. Elbows can be slightly bent if you need to, but ideally we want the arms to be mainly straight. Inhale up. And exhale down. So this time we come halfway down our back, and we're going to be stretching the belt out. So we're stretching, the belt's in line with our shoulders. Now these exercises, the reason I started doing them was I used to work for the government. Some of you might know I had an office job, so all day long sitting there typing, hunched over a computer. And I started teaching these when I worked for the government, and they really, really helped because people have a lot of shoulder tension. These are a really good way of moving our shoulders in different directions. They're from a book by Paul Grilly. It's a really good set of exercises. So then let's release forward, taking the belt down. Take your hands onto your shoulders and then making 3 big circles. So now, relaxing in between. So remember, never overdo these. I wrote in the description of the class, if anything feels uncomfortable, please remember to stop. We certainly do not want to be getting injured in these days, so make sure you take it easy, listen to your body, and don't do anything that doesn't feel right. So this time we're taking the belt, we take it in our right hand, we point the right hand up to the ceiling, and then the left hand comes down. And the belt's quite tight. We're not really moving the hand, but we're just pushing a little bit up for our right hand. And then we're pushing down with our left hand. And sometimes if you can't quite feel it, it's worthwhile just playing a little bit with where the belt is positioned. So we push up with our right hand, and then we push down with our left hand. Pushing up with our right hand, and then down with our left hand. And we should be feeling it in between the shoulder blades. So one more time, pushing up with our right hand and down with our left hand. Remember, just take it easy, don't overdo it, and then changing sides. Pushing up with our left hand and down with our right hand. Up with our left hand, down with our right hand. Try not to pop out the ribs, so try to draw the ribs back a little bit so there's some tone in the belly. Up with the right hand, down with the left hand. One more time. And then releasing. Take the hands again onto the shoulders, relax the fingers. And then this time we're going forward. So we're going forward. Try to bring the elbows together in the middle. Great. And then relaxing. Excellent. So, next one, last one of this series, we're going to take the belt and then holding the belt so it's in line with the shoulders, elbows are in and down, and we stretch the belt like we're trying to pull it apart, and then inhale, lifting all the way up. Exhale, coming down onto the shoulders. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, coming down. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, coming down. One more time. Inhale up. Relaxing the belt. Relax the fingers. Then take your hands onto your shoulders. Draw the elbows together. And then we're going to do 3 little movements. And if you get lost, just bring them together again and then send them off in different directions. So this is a good one for our mind-body coordination. And then we can change, going in the opposite direction. Good. And then relaxing the hands down. Excellent. So from here, we can stretch out the legs. We want to have a little bit of time to do some hip work as well. So give your legs a little bit of a wiggle, particularly if they've been stretched out or they've been tucked under. And then we can have our knees on the floor. So if you're on your chair, you can also do the same movements. Hands behind us, try to lift up the chest a little bit. So I'll just show you how I'm sitting from behind. So I'm lifting up the chest a little bit and my knees are outstretched like so. So you can see there's a little bit of a lift and I'm supporting myself. So a tiny bit of a back bend there. And then we're just gently moving the knees a little bit from side to side. So knees go over to your right. You can do it in the chair, centre, knees go to the left. And you can look to the opposite direction. The knees in the centre and then knees go to the left. So just continuing like that, moving gently from side to side. And then coming back to the centre. So from here, stretch out your legs, take your right foot over your left foot, and then we're going to see if we can lift up our leg, and we're just going to see if we can move it a little bit side to side. And there's options here, so you might be able to just hold underneath and just gently move it a little bit from side to side, moving into your hips. If you've got a bit more flexibility, you may be able to catch your outside edge of your feet and really cradle the legs. If you're doing this cradling version, try to keep this top foot flexed. That's going to help protect the knee. So we're going to just take it a little bit like that. And then when we're ready, placing the leg back onto the knee. And just gently, so we're not pushing here, we're just encouraging. We can encourage this other knee to open without pushing on the knee. And then there's going to be some options here. So you might just want to stay here, maybe making some circles, particularly if you're on the chair, you could circle with your ankles. If you want to go a bit further, we can bend the left leg, and I'm going to show you this from the side as well. So you can bend the left leg. Option 2, might just want to move a little bit side to side again. That can be a nice option. Gently moving the whole shape from side to side, getting into that hip, trying not to drop the shoulders. And then option 3, this is a bit more of a stronger option. Press down firmly with your hands, fingers pointing backwards. Press down firmly with the foot that's on the floor, and then you can lift your hips up. And again, you can continue moving a little bit side to side, only if that feels good. So really just listen to your body, move a little bit side to side, and then when you're ready, releasing down. Come back to the front, and then we can stretch out the bottom leg. We can take the foot to the inside edge of the thigh, or keeping it crossed, whatever's more comfortable in the chair, maybe just have it crossed. And then we inhale, sweeping up. Keep it crossed on the chair, just have the ankle over the knee. So if you're on the chair, just keep it crossed, the other leg straight, and then we're going to bend over. So again, going as far as you can. Remember, yoga is not a competition. There's a saying by, I think Donna Farhi said this, but she said, do not sacrifice the body for the glory of the pose. So just go as far as you feel comfortable. And then inhale, coming all the way back up again. And then just another little twist here. So hug the knee into the chest. You can hug it in if you're on the chair as well. So you can hug your knee into the chest. Option 1. And option 2, just to take the arm around the knee and seeing if we can come into another twist. So twisting the chest over to your right. And just allowing this thigh here to squeeze into the ascending colon. Remember, your head is not kind of going back too strongly. Your head can be more neutral. And breathing there. And then releasing all the way back forward and relaxing the other leg. Great. So time for that on the second side. So lifting up your left leg. And remember, you've got some options. So we could just cradle the leg in the hands, like so, holding onto our foot and the knee, just moving gently from side to side. Option 2, if you've got a bit more flexibility, you can cup it into your elbow and then hold and interlace the fingers, moving gently from side to side. So remember, it's not about how far we're going, it's not about whether you can cradle the leg in your arms or you can just hold it like this. It's more about just feeling in and imagining that we're oiling the hips here. And then resting the foot down on the knee. So remember, your option 1 is just to keep it there on the knee, imagining we're just trying to open up this hip. Option 2, we bend the bottom leg, have it onto the floor, press the fingers down strongly behind you, full palms on the floor, push the foot down, and if it feels good for you, we're just going to move a little bit side to side. So open those hips a little bit more. And then if it feels right for you, pushing down into the foot and the hands behind you, and we can lift up into our tabletop version. And here we can just have a little bit of movement through the hips. The head should stay forward ideally if you've got any neck issues. If you've got no problems with your neck, you can have the head going back. Just be very, very careful of that. And then when you're ready, bringing the hips down, relaxing the feet. Just take a moment there, and if you can, we're going to hug both knees in towards the chest, and if you're on the chair, just hug one knee at a time. So one knee, forehead towards the legs, and then the other one. And then stretching out your right leg, left leg comes inside, like we did before. So if you're on the chair, you can just have it keeping it crossed, so whatever feels more comfortable. And then sweeping up the hands and coming all the way down. So just go as far as you feels comfortable. Relax the head, and then coming all the way up. And then taking the knee to the ceiling, sole of the foot on the floor or on the chair. And then we're just hugging the leg in with the opposite elbow, and then we're just taking a little bit of a twist if we can. And feeling the thigh against the colon, breathing there. Remember, just be careful with your neck, you're not going too far with it. And then coming back to the center. And then from here, just do one more kind of dynamic movement before we move on to our backs. So the last movement is we're going to take our legs wide. So if you're in the chair, you can keep your knees bent, just having the legs reasonably wide. And we're going to imagine that we've got a big pot in front of us, and we're making a stew. And in this pot are all the things in our lives at the moment, maybe the good bits, the bad bits, the sad bits, the happy bits, the bits of joy. But they're our pot and they're our stew, and we're just going to start to stir our pot. If you're feeling energetic, you can take it bigger, you can take it smaller. And as we're closing the eyes, we can just think about all the things that are in our lives at the moment. And these things are making our pot. And we can think about our big stew or a soup or whatever it is we're stirring, a curry. And we can think about maybe there's some things we can put into it to make it a little bit more interesting. So in these days we have so many resources available to us online. There's a burgeoning and the flourishing of things. We have the choice to choose. Maybe listening to some different music might make it a bit more interesting. Maybe reading a different author we never thought we'd like. Maybe just taking it easy and spending some time watching the sky. So what are the things we need in our pot? And then thinking about starting to stir our pot in the other direction. We might decide, our soup's a little bit too watery. Stuff we don't like in our soup. Or a stew or a curry, and maybe there's some things we can chuck out. Maybe there's things we can get rid of. Taking a little bit longer, stirring our soup. And then from here, bring our legs in and keep the knees apart. Have the feet together, your knees apart. So you can imagine that your big bowl of soup is here, and then we inhale, lifting up our head, and then we're just going to bow forward, and we're imagining that we're smelling our soup. Maybe even we're tasting our soup, and we're thinking that our soup that we've made, or our stew or our curry, is really delicious, and really nourishing and delicious. And then coming up, so I'm just going to finish with a few minutes of relaxation meditation. So coming to lie down, if you're lying down, if you're in the chair, you can stay lying down. So if you want to lie down, you can lie in your Shavasana, like so. You can have one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly, or both hands facing up. So you just get yourself comfortable for the last few minutes of class. If you're in the chair, you can just be as comfortable as you can in that chair. So taking a moment to notice how your body is feeling. If you need to take any more movement to help yourself feel comfortable, please take them now. Just settling in, noticing how the shoulders are feeling, noticing how the hips are feeling. So in these times there's great sorrow, there's also times of joy. When people come back from hospital, our friends just back from hospital this week. Also there's people who have been lost. I'm just going to finish with a poem by Rumi. Unfold your own myth. Who gets up early to discover the moment light begins? Who lets a bucket down and brings up a flowing prophet? Or like Moses goes for fire and then find what burns inside the sunrise? Jesus slips into a house to escape enemies and opens the door to the other world. Solomon cut open a fish, and there is a gold ring. Omar storms in to kill the prophet and leaves with blessings. But don't be satisfied with other stories, how things have gone with others. Unfold your own myth without complicated explanations, so everyone will understand the passage. We have opened you. Start walking towards the shams. Your legs will get heavy and tired, and then comes the moment of feeling the wings you've grown lifting. Your legs will get heavy and tired. Then comes the moment of feeling the wings you've grown lifting. So if you want to stay lying for a little bit longer, feel free to stay lying down. If you do want to get up, just start to stretch and move, maybe wiggling your fingers, maybe taking a nice stretch overhead. And then you can roll over onto your right hand side, make a pillow with your hands. And then very, very slowly begin to walk yourself up to sitting. Opening your eyes, just flitting them open a little bit and a little bit more. Good. So, namaste everybody. How are you feeling? Please write me a comment in the comment box to let me know how you're doing.